The Post Type Builder, or what we call it, the PTB plugin, is a powerful builder that allows you to create custom post types on your site. This is perfect when you're creating an affiliate site featuring various products, or when you like to showcase properties that you'd like to sell or rent out, or when you'd like to create a portfolio of your work. The great thing about the PTB plugin is that it works with any WordPress site using any WordPress theme. For this tutorial video, we've created a step-by-step guide on how to create a custom post type. To make it easier to understand and follow, we've divided it into 4 different stages: planning, creating, templates, and finally adding a new post. We highly recommend watching the video in the order that we've set so that you can better understand and follow how each element was done. Let's get started. Creating a custom post type requires some planning. The best way to start is to first plan how you'd like to set up an archive and a single post layout. We always recommend finding a sample site that you'd like to replicate and then break it down. For this example, let's look at this movie post type, and let's see what we need for a custom post. This archive layout has 4 different elements. It has a featured image, a post title, a rating field, and 2 text fields. For a single post layout, there are also various elements. Let's break it down. Similar to the archive layout, the first 4 elements are the same. It has a featured image, post title, rating field, and 2 text fields. Now with a single post layout, we can add more information. The content below are called taxonomies. Taxonomies are subcategories for the post. It'll allow you to link categories with other posts. Meaning if I click the director Brad Bird, it'll also link to other posts that are linked to movies that are directed by Brad Bird. The next field is called a checkbox. The synopsis is the default WordPress content editor on the page. The next is a progress bar, video, and gallery field. These 3 plus the rating field are actually added with the PTB extra field add-on. We'll discuss more about this on the next stage when we start talking about how to create a custom post type. For now, what we are focusing on is planning what we want to include on this post. Now that we are finished planning and know what we need for our post type, let's go to the next phase, which is stage 2, creating. Welcome to the second stage, creating. If you haven't done so, please make sure to watch stage 1, planning. This will allow you to follow and better understand what we're going to do. Now that we planned the post, it's now time to create a custom post type using the PTB plugin. Before we begin, you'll need to have the following plugins installed and activated on your site. You'll need the Post Type Builder plugin and the PTB Extra Field add-on. Both of these need to be installed and activated on your site. If you don't have these installed and activated, pause the video and make sure to do it now. If you've done it already, let's continue. Creating a custom post type can be done in 3 different steps. First is creating a taxonomy, creating a post type, and the third is adding a field to your post. This is where our planning comes into play. If you remember, during our planning, we said that on a single post layout, there are 2 different taxonomies we'd like to add: the director and genre. To do this, go to your WP admin, Post Type Builder, and go to Taxonomies, and click Add New. Now on the singular label, input the name, and the plural. We don't need to attach it to any post for now, because we haven't created a post yet. There are also additional options that you'll find below, such as custom labels and advanced options. For the type of post that we're creating, we don't need to change any of these options. I also don't recommend editing any of these if you're unsure of how it works. Most of the time, all the regular taxonomies that you need to create you don't need to edit any of these advanced options. So let's click save. And now let's create our genre taxonomy. Click save. After creating our taxonomies, let's now create our post type. To do this, click on post types. And click add new. Now let's input the fields below. I'm going to leave the meta box section named blank. We don't really need to fill that as well. This is an optional input field. And for this section here, these are just standard features that are built into WordPress. So you see the post title, the content editor, featured image. By default, the regular ones are already pre-checked for you. But if you'd like to, you can also check the categories, the revisions, the comments, and the authors and tags so that it'll appear when you are editing your post or when you're creating your post. So I can enable categories if I want to, and revisions if I want to. And the first two taxonomies that we created a while ago are now here. So we can assign them for this post. So for the taxonomy, director's taxonomy, and the genre taxonomy, I'm going to link them to the movies. You can also choose to add a taxonomy on the spot by clicking this button here. Doing this will redirect you back to the taxonomies page where you can create a new taxonomy. Now the next section is the meta box builder. This is where you'll need to add the various fields that will appear on your post. Think about it this way. Whenever you create a new post and you need to input information about the post, such as running time, the metascore of the movie, this is the part where you create the input fields for those. So it's basically the input field that you see when you create a new post. You're now labeling and creating the fields. To do this, you'll just need to click on the add field. You'll also notice that there are additional fields that appear. This is because of the PTB extra field add-on that we activated on the site. With the PTB extra field add-on, we get 10 additional field types, such as maps, slider, gallery, video, audio, file, progress bar, and so on. Now I'm going to add a text field, and I'm going to call it running time. Now, the description is really optional. You don't have to add one if you don't want to, but I recommend adding it just so that when you are entering or creating a post, you'll know what the field is for, or you can add an example so you can set a standard of what type of text you want to input on the field. So if you want to have a label that where you add a minute, you can just put MIN. You don't have to spell the entire MINUTE. So it's a little bit more uniform that way. You can also choose to add a default value. So this is what's going to appear inside the input field, whether you put something in there or not. And also you can choose to make it repeatable. Repeatable meaning that when you are creating the post, you're allowed to add more than one answer. Since I'm putting the running time, I don't need to make it repeatable because there's only one running time for the movie. So I'm going to keep it by default as no. And now I'm going to add the metascore, and that's another text field. And I want my metascore to be out of 100. So I'm going to put in the description that to input the metascore out of 100. The next one I'm going to add is the video slider. So I'm going to select the slider field, and I'm going to put video slider. I'm not going to add a description because I don't really need to. And the next one is going to add a rating. And I'm going to call it IMDb review. check out what. So for the rating, it's a specialized field, so you can see that we can add a rating count to it. So I have the option to have a 1 to 3 or 1 to 5. So this is the rating, the number of rating that's going to appear. And I have the option of who can rate it. So I have the option to either to allow only the rating to be edited by the admin, which is myself, or allow public visitors to change the rating. Now the rating field is very smart because it automatically calculates the rating. So for example, if I click on the public visitors and I have visitors that would rate the movie 5 times 5, and then one person would give it a 1-star rating, it'll automatically calculate that and then give it a 4-star rating. So to make this simple for this example, I am going to keep it as an admin or editor, so only so whatever rating I put, it's the one that's going to appear in the movie. And now I'm going to add a gallery field. Just going to put gallery images, and then progress bar. I'm going to label this as movie types. So it's really important to plan the labels for each. It'll give you an easier time later on when you're actually creating a post type or when you're adding one. And now I'm going to add a link button. So link. And finally, I'm going to add the checkbox. And that's it. Now that I've added all the fields that I needed to create my archive layout and my single post layout, I'm just going to click save. And this will automatically redirect me to the templates page, which we are going to be talking about on the next stage, templates. Welcome to stage 3, template. This is the part where we'll create the structure of how it'll look when your post is viewed on archive and on a single post layout. Creating the template is fun and easy because of its drag and drop interface. And for this video tutorial, we're going to go through step by step on how you can do this. Starting from where we left off on our previous video, after creating the custom post type and clicking save, we were automatically redirected to the template section. Here we'll see the following options. First is the template name. Here you can input what you'd like to label for this template. For this example, let's call it movie. The second option is called template for. This allows you to set which custom post type this template is going to be linked to. Since we only made one custom post type for now, we'll just select that. Then click save. Once you click save, you'll see the following two options appear. First is edit archive template, and the next is edit single post template. Let's start first with the edit archive template. Click on the archive template and you will see the following options. The first option is post layout. Here we select how you'd like your post to appear when viewed in archive layout. For this example, we'll choose grid 3 layout. Next is post per page. We'll leave this blank for now because we want to use the default setting of the site. Next is order by. This allows you to set the order by which the post will appear. You can set it to any order you'd like based on the title, post ID, or even the meta fields that you've created. I'm going to leave this as default for now. Next is order. Here you can choose to either set it to descending or ascending. I'm going to keep it at descending. Lastly, we have pagination. Here you can choose to show or hide the pagination of your post. I'm going to select yes for this one. Now as you scroll down, you'll see the meta box where you can start dragging and dropping our fields to our template. The archive layout is meant to showcase only a glimpse of your post content. Since I chose a grid 3 layout, I want to make sure that I also don't show too much content, or else it'll squish all my content and look ugly. Based on our planning, we outlined that there are only 4 things that I need: a featured image, a post title, the rating field, and 2 text fields for the running time and meta score. So I'm going to add these fields to my meta box right now. To make it easier for you to see and visualize what I'm doing, what I've done is I've added an image on the side here where you can see archive layout that we're going to create. That way you can see when I'm making the template and follow what each field I'm adding and how it'll look like when I finish building it. For the first field, I'm going to drag and drop a featured image. You'll see that whenever I drag a field, the options also expand to show what I can do for this particular field. So I can change the image dimension, change the link to open in a light box or open in a new window. But for this particular example, I'm going to keep the featured image as it is. I'm not going to change anything. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the title, which is already here by default, and I'm going to change the default H2 heading to H4. This is so that whenever a post title appears on the archive layout, the post title will appear as H4 instead of H2. And then I'm going to add the IMDb review, where I've set that it only allows me, the admin or the editor, to input the review. And I'm going to change the default star icon to a thumbs up. And I'm going to keep the icon size as small by default. And for the text before, I'm going to put IMDb review. So whenever there's a review where this field is being used, you always see before it the text IMDb review. And now I'm going to add the 2 text fields that we talked about, which is the running time and meta score. So for the running time, I'll add it under the IMDb review, and I want to change the HTML tag to strong so that whenever I put a running time, it'll appear bold and it'll be seen much clearer. And the text before, I'm going to put running time and collapse it, and then I'm going to put the meta score. For the meta score, I'm going to keep the HTML tag as it is, and then I'm going to add the text before meta score. Keep it simple. And finally, since I am using a grid 3 layout, I don't want to add too much text. I want users to be able to see my featured image and important facts right away. And if they want to see more content, they can click on it. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be deleting the excerpt so that it doesn't appear. And then I'm going to click save. And now that I see this green check icon, I can close this and now edit my single post template. Now let's edit the single post template. Here you'll see the following options. First is the post navigation. This is what appears at the bottom of the post, whether you'll like to add the ability for users to view next or previous post after reading it. So for here, I'm going to select yes. For the second option, you'll see the option called same category. Similar to the post navigation option, it also allows you to enable the option for users to view next or previous post. The difference though is that it allows you to only show the post in the same category of the current viewing post. So for this example, I'm going to select no. For the single post template, this is where I can show all my content. Unlike archive, for the single post, I have the entire page just for this post. so I can add all the information that I have for it. So based from our planning stage, there are 10 fields that we'll need to add for the movie single post layout. So what I've done for everybody is I've added an image on the side as well so that we can all refer to it as I'm building it. Let's get started. So now what I'll be doing for the first step is I'm going to add a new row. And then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be dragging this new row up to the top, and then I'm going to select a 2-column layout. After selecting the 2-column layout, I'm going to drag and drop a featured image. Similar to the archive layout, I'm going to leave this blank as well. And on the right side, I'm going to drag and drop the title field. I'm going to expand it. Then I'm going to make sure that H1 is selected. Next, I'm going to be adding the IMDb review. And for this one, I'm going to keep it as a star icon, unlike the archive where I use the thumbs up. And then instead of small, I'm going to change it to medium. And then for the voted color, I'm going to choose a yellowish color. And then for text before, I'm going to put IMDb review. And then collapse. Then I'm going to add a running time. Same thing as before. I'm going to add just text before running time. And then I'm going to add a date to showcase the release date. It's going to be the release date here for the text before, and then meta score, and I'm going to put a text after out of 100, so that whatever number I input right after that will show this number that I just added. And for the taxonomies, I'm going to drag it underneath the metascore as well. And I'm going to choose the director taxonomy, and I'm going to put text before as director. And then I'm going to add the other taxonomy that we have. So the good thing about having the taxonomy as a general field name is so that if ever that I have multiple taxonomies, let's say I have like 15 taxonomies, I won't have so many fields appearing on my MetaBox builder. I'll just have one taxonomy's module that I can drag, and then I can select which taxonomy I want to use. And lastly, for the right column is I have the rating checkbox. For the rating checkbox, I am going to select, I'm going to keep the default one line, and then I'm going to put rating. Now the reason why on the right column we have so much content and not on the left is because if you look at the sample image, we'll see that all these are just text, but on the right column, on the left column, sorry, we have the image module, which is very long. So in order to keep it somewhat balanced, we have to put more information or more content on the right column. Let's continue. For the first module, I'm going to add a static text, and I'm going to click on the visual tab and type in synopsis. And that's going to allow me to have the text synopsis at the very top of every content. So now for my content, I'm just going to leave it here, and that's going to be whatever text I have on the WordPress editor. And then after that, I'm going to add my movie types, which is my progress bar. For the progress bar, you'll see how for every field that we added when we made the post type, which is action, adventure, fantasy, and mystery, each of this has its own option panel. So we can choose to add a color. So for this example, I'm going to add a red color, and for the adventure, I'm going to select a purple color, and then for the fantasy, I'm going to choose a blue color, and for mystery, I'm going to add kind of a orange, like a burning orange, fire orange color. And then I'm going to leave everything as it is. And then I'm going to add another static text module. Click visual. And then I want to add the text trailers. And I'm going to change the format to heading 2. And then I'm going to add the slider that I created, that I called video slider. And I'm going to keep the transitions as the default horizontal, but I'm going to make it visible too. And then I'm going to set the height to 300. This is so that whenever I add a video, it won't vary in height, which will look really ugly. It'll keep it consistent. And I'm going to keep the speed slow. Pause and hover yes, show caption no. I'm going to keep the default setting here the same as it is. And then after that, I'm going to add another static text. And I'm going to show gallery. Collapse it, and then I'm going to drag and drop my gallery images module. And for this one, I'm going to select lightbox so that whenever a user clicks an image, it'll open in a lightbox. And for column, I'm going to select 3 column layout. And I'm going to keep everything else, the default, the same. I'm going to collapse this now. And then I'm going to click save. Now that I see that green check icon, I know that I'm done. Now we are ready to go to the next stage, adding a new post type. Welcome to the final stage of our PTB video tutorial. Congratulations on making it this far. We are now finished with all the hard part, and it's now time to fill up our site with posts. For this stage, I'm going to show you how to create a post and how to query your posts on a page. Let's begin. So now let's create a new post. To do this, go to the movie post type that we created a while ago, and then click on Add New. Input the title of the movie. And for now, I just added a lorem ipsum text here. So this is just random text that I found. And I'm going to copy a part of it. And I'm going to scroll down here and add it on my excerpt. Collapse this. And now I'm going to fill in the PTB meta box that we created a while ago when we were creating the post type. So these are the fields that we created. So you can see the description we put a while ago, input entire movie time in minutes. So for here, I'm going to put 130 minutes. And here I know that it's going to be out of 100, so I'm going to put 62 out of 100 based on the IMDb review that I found. Now I already went to YouTube and found some trailers, so I'm going to add some trailers that I found there and just copy and paste the URL. And then for the title, I'm just going to put trailer 1. I can add a link. The link will basically allow users, when they click on the title, to be redirected to this link. And the description will be the description that will appear underneath the title. For our example here, I'm not going to I'm not going to add any because we don't need to. I just want them to watch the video. And then I'm going to click here and click add new. This will allow me to add another video. And now I have my video slider. Next is our IMDb review. So since I chose to allow only the editor and admin to be able to access the to be able to add a review, you'll see here that I'm the only one who can manipulate what kind of rating I'd like it to showcase. And then for gallery, just going to, I already pre-added some images that I also downloaded. I'm going to just select it. Then click add new to add another one. So the cool thing about the gallery is that I can even add an image link. So if I wanted to link this to, for example, our Themify site, I can do so. So whenever a user clicks on the title, it'll automatically redirect them to our Themify themes page. And I can even add a description. The description will be added at the bottom of the image as well. So these are optional things that you can do, but since I've set it, if you remember on the templates, I've set it to open as a light box. I'm not going to add any image link, so that when a user clicks on this image, it'll open the image in a light box. And now we're going to add movie types. You can do this manually, or you can just manually input it. So the progress bar are always out of 100. So I'm going to add some random numbers here, and I could choose to add a link as well. And you can just add any link that you'd like. So when a user clicks on that movie rating text, it'll link to our themes page. And I am going to add the ratings checkbox and select PG. Now don't forget to add a featured image. So this is going to be the featured image that will appear on my archive layout. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be also adding our taxonomies. So the difference between taxonomies and the PTB field is the PTB fields, you can input it on this PTB meta box. But for taxonomies, it'll be on the sidebar here. So you see how we can add our taxonomy on the spot. So I can add a new director, Brad Bird, and that's the director for this movie. And for the genre, I'm going to add mystery. So now that I'm finished, I'm going to click publish. And now if you view this on the front end, we'll see that the post that we created looks like the template that we did a while ago. So you'll see how the post title is here, the IMDb review where we inputted a 4-star, the running time, and a bunch of other information that we just added a while ago are inputted on the template for the single post type that we created. You see how the images in the gallery open up as a light box, the way we've set it. And what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be adding some more movie posts. And after I add more movie posts, I'm going to show you how to create a new page and query these posts in this new page. I've now added some additional movies to our movie post type. And now what I want to do is to showcase all these on a page. To do this, I'll need to first add a new page. Then input the title. And then click on the PTB shortcode drop-down menu here. And then select the movie's post type. Here you'll see the following options. You can choose any of these options depending on your preference, but in order to recreate what we set out to do, I'm going to set it up as by leaving the order by as default and the order descending. I'm going to set the pagination, and I'm going to leave the offset to 0. I'm going to make the post per page to 9, and then select the grid 3 layout. I'm going to leave the post filter blank and no post messages. Now, in addition to this, you also have some additional taxonomy options that you can use as you showcase the archive layout. For this example, we're going to keep this as it is and not change anything. Same thing for the fields. We can choose to show posts, which content starting with your input value, or we can choose to showcase an excerpt. These are additional options that you can choose as you are choosing how you'd like to showcase it on a specific page. Additionally to this is the PTB meta box. So if I want to, I can choose to input a running time value that'll appear for the running time field. But for this example, I'm going to leave these options blank because I don't need to add any of these based on what we are looking to do. I already did all of them on the archive template that we created on the previous stage. So I'm gonna just click OK here. And you'll see that a shortcode would automatically appear. This shortcode is what's going to be used to query my movie post types. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Publish. And then I'm going to look on the front end. And here you'll see our beautiful movie post types queried on this new page that I created. When I click on a post, I'll see a single post layout open in a light box. And here's another movie that I added. And that's how you use the Post Type Builder plugin. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any questions on how to use this feature or suggestions on the next video tutorial that we should make, feel free to leave a comment below or email us at info@themify.me. For more Themify tutorial videos, check out our YouTube channel and don't forget to subscribe.